Hi, this is Nick Williford and Manos Brelakis presenting case 309 for the Manual of CTO Interventions. This is a case that shows multiple perforations and how to prevent and treat them. The patient had previous coronary bypass. When he came back, the only patent graft was the LIMA to LAD. This is the engagement coming back with counterclock and then advancing a safety wire for the dual injections. And this is the native left main. There's an ostial LAD CTO, but the distal vessel is filling from the LIMA. And the culprit vessel in this patient who had significant angina was the circumflex. There was lateral ischemia as well as viability. The anatomy is complex. We can see there is a small first obtuse marginal, but then there is a CTO in the mid-circumflex. The distal vessel is not visualized here because it was filling through collaterals, epicardial collaterals from the LAD that was filling from the LIMA. But on this view, we have this second obtuse margin that is fairly large. And also there is a third obtuse marginal filling on the bottom that is further down. So we have a CTO of the mid-circumflex, we have one obtuse marginal and another obtuse marginal. And these are different projections that illustrate the anatomy better. We have again this second obtuse marginal filling backwards from epicardial collaterals. And then here is the third obtuse marginal or left posterolateral, which is down here. So one major branch, second major branch, this is the area of ischemia. It was the plan to recanalize this area. So to summarize, what we have is a CTO of the mid-circumflex. It does have a blunt proximal cap. The length at this to the first vessel, which is the second obtuse margin, is about 30 millimeters, but then there is more CTO going further down. Distal vessel is diffusely diseased, and the collaterals are epicardial. Our plan here was to go Antegrade wiring and ADR. We were not sure that the risk would be acceptable going down the LIMA and then through epicardial collaterals to recanalize these obtuse marginals. So a decision was made to remain Antegrade during this case. The patient did have an occluded vein graft to the obtuse marginal, and there was a stump. Hence, we first tried to see if we can go retrograde through this occluded vein graft to go down and help us go retrograde. We used a Gladius polymer jacketed guide wire. It seemed to advance along the course of the vessel, but then the Gladius advanced further down, and then with a little injection, we see that we have a perforation of the vein graft. What do we do now? This is probably going into a mediastinal space, looks like a contained space, but this is definitely not something we want to leave unfinished. So this is a large vessel perforation from the wire. We decided to coil it, so we placed a concerto 4 by 10 millimeter by 10 centimeter coil that allows still some flow to go through, and sometimes it does take a little time for the coils to thrombose. Because there was still flow, we placed another coil, but there was still some Antegrade flow. And then we finally tried to put a larger one, a packing coil, which is a penumbra coil. It requires a larger microcatheter. But this ended up being too large. And in the process, the microcatheter position was lost. So we had to retrieve the whole thing, which was done by essentially inflating a balloon inside the guide catheter that traps the coil. And then we removed everything, the guide that had the coil trapped inside it, and then everything came out in one piece. So this is what to do when a coil doesn't get deployed well. One can sometimes just pull it back. In this case, we trapped it in the guide, and then we pulled back everything, and the coil came out of the graft, and we now just have the two concerto coils. However, those two concerto coils were enough to cause hemostasis, so we left it there and then proceeded with Antegrade wiring through the proximal cap. We used a microcatheter, a polymer jacketed guide wire, but the wire did not go into the vessel. Looks like not to be in the same plane as the vessel. These are different projections, and once again, It is not dancing with the distal vessel. It's not dancing with that large obtuse marginal we wanted to recanalize. So clearly this was not working. We tried different wiring, same problem. So clearly wiring is not a good option. Therefore, we decided to use Antegrade dissection or re-entry. This is the side base technique. So we placed a small balloon in the proximal circumflex going into the obtuse marginal, and then tried to advance a knuckled guide wire. The balloon prevents it from getting into the side branch, the first OM in this case. Then here we see the knuckle forming and now seems to be tracking the vessel better. And again, we want to make sure that we're going in the right direction. Contralateral injections. We ended up changing the wire for a Filter XT. And the wire here seems to be dancing along the second obtuse marginal, which was our original target. The Filter XT can create smaller knuckles. Again, here it seems to be going in the direction of the obtuse marginal, so this is encouraging. We kept on pushing, tried to get a little bit further, so then we could deliver a re-entry system. It goes down, which is not the desired course. We keep on advancing. Again, different knuckles are being formed. They're small because of the softness, but not going in the right direction. And then a small knuckle, but this seems to be going a little too far up. It's probably a small branch. So we pulled it back, and then we redirected the knuckle, trying to go along the course of the second obtuse marginal. And eventually, we have the wire go in the right direction. So now we're injecting from the LIMA, and we have the knuckled Filter XT dancing with the second obtuse marginal. We ballooned, and then we're able to deliver a Stingray. We did the double blind stick and swap going from both sides. And then we ended up placing a pilot 200. And this successfully entered into the second obtuse marginal branch. We did an intravascular ultrasound. That was as far as we can deliver. We see that we are extra plaque for a large portion, which is expected since we did the side-base technique. So this is the true lumen down at 6 o'clock, and the catheter is in the extra plaque space. As we come more proximal, we are now intraplaque and in the true lumen. So now we have a wire into the second obtuse marginal, but our goal was to see if we can get also the third obtuse marginal. And we'll try to do the same thing here, which is try to use a move the cap or dissection technique to find the course of the continuation of the circumflex. So we inflated a balloon into the mid-circumflex and then tried to advance a knuckled Gladius Mongo wire. However, here it is forming pretty large knuckles and it's not dancing in sync with the distal vessel. So clearly we're not going in the right direction here. We see the distal vessel is down here. And despite multiple attempts, we were not able to direct it in a different location. We did advance the microcatheter further down, but we see this knuckle, these loops are way too big. So this does not look good. This is probably, we are not into the vessel architecture. So we tried again to do the balloon-assisted subintimal entry in a different location, but once again, the wire kept on going in the wrong direction. And not surprisingly, we have two issues here. One is a perforation in the mid-circumflex. We did the staining come up here. And there's also, interestingly, there's another perforation into the second obtuse marginal going into what seems to be a vein. So two issues. This was probably caused by the knuckled wire going into a small branch and created an arteriovenous fistula, which generally are okay, but this one seems to be a perforation. How to fix this? Like every perforation, the first step is to get a balloon, achieve hemostasis, which is what we did. This perforation here was done while we're trying to go extra plaque, and we had true lumen. So we thought that if we placed the stent, we might move the dissection plane and seal the perforation. And this is what we did. We placed two drug-eluting stents, one going into the second obtuse marginal, and the other one coming a little further up. And sure enough, that sealed the perforation into the mid-circumflex. and then placing another drug-eluting stent. We did have a nice result there, and T3 flow into this obtuse marginal branch. We still have the fistula that is going to the cardiac vein, but echo did not show any effusion. The patient was feeling fine, so we did not do any extra treatment for this connection. And this was the final picture. Clearly here we did less than we were planning to. We were planning to open the second and the third obtuse marginal, but because of the perforation in the mid-circ, we ended up treating only the second obtuse marginal. However, what was interesting is the patient had excellent symptom relief and he was doing great, making the point that sometimes you don't need to go for complete revascularization to get symptom relief, which is the goal for most of the CTO PCI procedures. So multiple lessons from this case. The first one is that one can do retrograde through occluded vein grafts, but this is not necessarily a risk-free procedure. In this case, we did have a perforation of the vein graft requiring coils. Second, it's traditionally said that you should trust the knuckle because it is unlikely to go outside the vessel architecture. However, the knuckle can cause problems, as we saw both in the vein graft as well as in the native coronary. The knuckle can still perforate, especially if it's pushed through small branches. In this case, we were lucky because the Fielder XT knuckle created a connection with the vein instead of causing a free perforation. How to treat large vessel perforations? If it's in an occluded vessel, like it was the vein graft with the OM, one can just place coils and occlude the vessel. In the one we had in the mid-RCA, we had dissection technique, so putting a stent there moved the dissection flap and successfully sealed up perforation. If one creates a fistula between a coronary artery and a coronary vein, then often no treatment is required, and that was the case in our patient. And finally, even though we strive for complete revascularization, sometimes partial revascularization may be all that is needed for the patient to get significant symptomatic relief. Thank you.